So if you looked at my agenda for today, I was gonna go through some of my residential experience, show you some pictures of the kind of work I did in the housing market. Since we lost 45 minutes, I think I'm gonna hold that off. We'll use that as like a break sometime later down the road, because you're going through the book every day, you're gonna need a break. So there's no need you have to know that now, so we're skipping that. The one other thing I'm gonna show you is I'm gonna come around and see where you're at in the book at the start of class here. After I'm done with my little talk. And the reason for that is, I kept track last year on how far the students got. Now this year I know we're gonna take us a while to catch up to them. But at the end of the first day, that's the median, which is the middle, the low progress and the high progress after the first day. But that's without missing the 45 minutes because of the computer snafu. So that lake cabin is assignment, it takes you up to page 2.817, and then 3.1 is the next one. So you can see we're not terribly behind, because some people basically at the low of last class, they were just starting the lake cabin at the end of the day, right? So if you're just starting the lake cabin, you're at the low end of last year's class without missing the 45 minutes. Now remember, it's not a race. I've allowed plenty of time to get through this book. And the other thing is that it's like a marathon. It's not a sprint. You should learn the content. Now, on a beautiful day like today, I just went for a little bit of a walk, because like for your mental health in the winter, to get out in a 48-degree day with the sunshine is important. And all the action in this profession happens between your ears. It's a mental health thing. So if you're in the middle of class and you're just like, I want to go outside and walk for half an hour or whatever, I'm totally cool with that, because the temperatures both start dropping this afternoon. So just say I'm gonna go take a mental health walk, and I'm totally okay with that, because mental health and taking care of your body is important, because if that stuff doesn't work, you can try as hard as you want, you're not gonna be as sharp mentally as you should be. So I'm giving you a freedom to take a mental health long break or leave early today if you want to. But we can't fall too far behind. But this is just kind of totally unusual weather. Now I just see the wind just switched around, and it's blasting out of the north now, looking at the flag. So the temperature is probably going to start going down. Okay, so I got a very little talk to talk about here. If you haven't started the lake cabin yet, I just want to make sure that you catch the fact that you need to start with the right template. Because when you get a template, Revit has gone through and loaded certain windows in, certain doors in, certain walls in. And if the book tells you to use one template and you don't use that, you're going to be frustrated, because they'll tell you to use a certain kind of window and then it won't show it. So I'm on page 3 of the book. And, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong page of the book. I got to get to page 2. Okay, so we had about at the top. So it says start a new project named Lake Cabin. Steps, click new project, browse, default, open, and then okay. So let's go ahead and do that. Oh, and I got a new tool based on your suggestions here. So let's see if I can try that. You have to tell me what you think. Is this good? And when I click, it actually turns red. I don't know if it clicks a different color for right click or left click. No, they're both the same color. But anyway, let's go ahead and we're going to do a new model. Now, when they say click new project, browse. So the first thing we have to do is, remember I told you we want to always work in projects and not redo a new template. So never check this button unless you're creating a new template. So keep it on project, which is the default here. Now we're going to click browse, and he's telling us to use default. So you got to use exactly the one he told you, because otherwise he'll tell you to use a certain size window and it will not show up. So then you just click open, and then you make sure it stays on project. You're opening a template to make a project from that template. You're not trying to make a new template. So you get okay. And this will have all the windows that you're supposed to have loaded in there. So if you look at the fixed windows, he has you put a 36 by 72, was it in there? Yeah. And that one's loaded in, and it's not loaded into all the templates. So if you can't find his windows and you're getting frustrated, you started with the wrong template. Now I wish there was a button to just say, okay, I screwed up. I got the wrong template. Give me the other template. There's no button. So what you would have to do in that case, say you're all done with your project and you just had this one thing that you need to get the windows from, you could make your own window, but it's too early to show you how to do that. What you would do is you would copy all your stuff from the bad template into the good template, and then you would be able to add that window once you were in the good template. You would open up a file with the good template, copy all your other stuff into it. Okay, so that's my little lesson for today, just something to keep an eye on. The cabin shouldn't take you too long. If you get done with that, then we start to learn the 2D. So he kind of gives you a little glimpse of the promised land. Oh, this is the promised land. We're doing walls, doors, windows. But then he takes you back and teaches you the basics of how to do 2D drafting, because there's sometimes you still need to do 2D drafting. So this is like the next 2 chapters then in the book are like Revit's version of AutoCAD drafting, where you're just dealing with snaps and drawing 2D lines. And then once those 2 chapters are done, then we start on this big honking book house for the book. Okay, so that's kind of an overview of where we're at. I'm going to roll around and just see where you're at. Now remember, it's not a race. I'm not trying to shame anybody. Everybody learns at their own pace. I just need, as I teach something, every class is different, and I need to figure out if I'm allowing enough time for each of these chapters based on your average person coming through the class. Okay, that's all I got. Thank you. I'm going to stop the recording now.